For my webography, I chose a topic that interests me as a gender and cultural studies student: the use of the internet as a medium for feminist activism, particularly when used for content-producing publications. I found this infographic, which was published through the FemFuture report, is pretty helpful in setting up some background on the power of gender in social media. Just to highlight some of the statistics that I found particularly interesting, 89% of women online use social networks, and 41% of people aged 18 to 25 have directly engaged in political discussion or action on social media. Preceded by 100 years and 2 feminist waves of DIY-style publications and mainstream media paranoia, and perhaps spurred by the significant advances to technology and the advent of the internet in the late 90s, third-wave feminists retreated to the hand-produced publications of their foremothers. Young women began to touch up feminism with stickers, a punk soundtrack, and a distinctly girly approach. Third-wave feminism and its introduction to, quote, girly feminism saw a spurt of hand-produced DIY print publications called zines. As two seemingly at odds means of creating content in a personal, self-published manner, zines and blogs are often compared. Blogs and the internet have even been accused of killing the zine scene. I, however, would argue that they actually benefit one another. The internet has expanded the fractured, tight-knit zine communities that were separated by time zones, postal codes, and language barriers. E-commerce tools like PayPal have made payment for zines safer, while storefronts like Etsy and international distributors make selling and buying more efficient. The heart of my research lies in the debate between the pros and cons of feminist internet activism. By breaking down barriers, the information highway democratizes information and access. This leads to some amazing advances in feminism. On the other hand, the limitlessness and facelessness of the internet has its fundamental flaws. I'll take a moment to explain this term slacktivism on the right side. Activism once constituted as marches, grand speeches, and sit-ins. While these strategies are still employed for tactical resistance, more and more the average activist relies on social media and one-click petitions to advance their issue. Social critics have looked at this and perceived a laziness, hence the term slacktivism. In my webography, I go into greater detail on compromises to these pro-con arguments, the issue of anonymity on the internet, and conclude by highlighting some of my favorite feminist web projects. So without further ado, I'll take us to my website. Now, as you'll see, if you hover over the different graphics, you'll come to different segments. So this first one, Feminist Media History, the zine scene and the blogosphere, criticisms of internet in activism, facing faceless feminist communities, and feminist web projects. So for the first one, I actually didn't get much of an opportunity to delve into the details of feminist media history, but in my website, I was able to talk more about suffragettes and second wave activists and how they were able to use various technologies in print publication to advance their cause. Zine scene versus the blogosphere gives a few more details on what I already discussed in my presentation. And then for criticisms of internet in activism, I also included a segment on potential compromises to the pros and cons argument, and I also attached a cool song. Unfortunately, getting to lyrics would eat up too much time, so I'm just going to skip ahead to Facing Faceless Feminist Communities, which discusses in greater detail the anonymity and the community building exercise that the internet and its vastness creates. And then finally, my favorite page is the feminist web projects. As you'll see, again, if you hover over the text, over the picture rather, it'll show you some text giving stats on the cause, social media outlets, the creators, and all the likes that it has on Facebook or different mediums. And if you click on the arrows, you'll see different graphics. And it's like that for all the other ones. The only difference is that for Feminist Frequency and I believe the Circle of Six app, I also included a video in addition to the gallery pictures. And I'm not going to take you to my works cited or website evaluations, so you're free to check that out on your own. I just figured that's probably not too interesting, so instead I'm just going to show you my recommended reading list. Because I enjoyed researching this project so much, I kind of created an additional dozen or so book lists in case you wanted to do your own research. But anyway, thank you for listening, and have a good weekend.